Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Another video on the 0610 March 23 paper 1, 2, and this is the MCQ paper. And this is the second video, which is going to start from question number 23. Question number 23. The apparatus shown was used to investigate aerobic respiration. So if it's aerobic, then you can understand that it's going to be oxygen, which we are going to be talking about. The apparatus was placed in a dark room. And then we have a wire mesh, we have a chemical which absorbs the gas produced by the seeds, and there is seed soaked in water, and then we have the colored liquid. So gas taken in by the seeds would be oxygen, gas absorbed by the chemical would be carbon dioxide, and direction of movement of the colored liquid would be this side. Why? Because as the oxygen is used up, the carbon dioxide is absorbed by this, so a pressure difference is created. And then this colored liquid is going to move this way towards the seeds, so it's going to move towards the seeds. So that is why the answer is C. Question number 24. Why is yeast used in bread making? Aerobic, well, we don't need the alcohol. Lactic acid is not going to happen in bread. Anaerobic alcohol is still not needed, used in bread making. So that would be D. Anaerobic respiration produces carbon dioxide, and that makes the dough rise. And when the dough rises, it creates these bubbles in it, and that's what makes the dough into bread, and that gives it that light texture, not that solid structure, which if the dough had not risen, it would have got a solid structure. Question number 25. In the diagram, which label identifies the urethra? Well, we know it is C, but then what is B? And what is A? And what is D? Of course, D is the ureter. So D is not the answer. B is either the renal artery or the renal vein, because we don't see any sort of signs in it by which we could tell which one is the artery and which one is the vein. Now coming to question number 26, the diagram shows a reflex arc. Which label identifies the motor neuron? So I mean, if you remember, this is the sensory neuron. It goes here, here, and here. This is the sensory neuron. Then this is the relay neuron. This one here and here is the relay neuron. And then this one, which is going to M motor, M muscle. So that is why the answer to 26 is B, because that is the motor neuron. Then question number 27, what is the role of insulin? The role of insulin, it decreases the blood glucose concentration. Now this is wrong. It does not increase the blood, that's glucagon, which increases the blood glucose concentration. Blood sucrose, well, we don't have sucrose in the blood. And it increases blood glycogen concentration. No, it doesn't work on the liver and convert the blood. There's no glycogen in the blood, by the way. Please understand that the glycogen is converted to glucose in the liver, and then that glucose enters the blood. Question number 28. The diagram shows a seedling growing inside a dark box. Which type of responses affect the direction of growth of the root and the shoot inside the box? Root and the shoot inside the box, response by the root is what? It is gravitropism. And response by the shoot is also gravitropism. One is positive gravitropism, one is negative gravitropism. So because you see, you've got to understand it's in a dark box, so there's no response to light. The only response is to gravity. So the growth is gravitropism. One is negative, one is positive, but the response is gravitropism. Then coming to question number 29. Which row shows why only some infections can be successfully treated with antibiotics? Which row shows why only some infections can be treated with antibiotics? Bacteria can be treated with antibiotics. Resistant bacteria cannot be. Viruses cannot be. So it can be the answer for 29 has to be C. Yes, can be treated by antibiotics. This cannot be treated by antibiotics, and viruses, of course, cannot be treated by antibiotics because viruses do not have any cytoplasm or any cell wall or any enzymes on. That is how they're killed, because those antibiotics works on those structures of the bacteria. 30. The diagram shows part of a flower. What is the part labeled X? The part labeled X is stigma. Stigma, style, and ovary. This is the anthers. This is the filament. This is the stigma. Then this is the style. And this is the ovary. And inside it you have the ovules. Then question number 31. Which statement about the hormones involved in human puberty is correct? Estrogen causes body hair and facial hair to grow in males. Estrogen causes breasts to develop in the females. That is correct. Testosterone causes the menstrual cycle to begin in females. No, testosterone is a male one. And testosterone causes the hips to get wider in males. So this is wrong as well. So these are wrong. They don't make sense. Question number 32. The diagram shows the human female reproductive system. In which structure does fertilization usually occur? Of course, by mistake, it can occur anywhere. But the answer is A because it's in the oviduct. B is the ovary. C is the lining of the uterus. And D is the vagina. Now, another very good inheritance question. In mice, the allele for black hair is dominant to the allele for brown hair. So, brown hair would be this. And black hair would be either this or this. Now, which proportion of offsprings will have brown hair if a cross is made between a homozygous black mouse? Homozygous black mouse means this. And a heterozygous black mouse means this. So it says what will have brown hair? Brown hair has to be this. Now they cannot be any this because there's only one small a here. There is no small a here in this one. So that is why it's a very basic and a very simple question. The answer is A, 0%. Why? Because homozygous black mouse is this. Heterozygous black mouse is this. So if you cross these, how can you get a child? You can get one A, but there's no the other. Second A can't come from any other parent. This parent does not have small a. Question number 34. Question number 34. Which row about variation is correct? You know discontinuous and continuous variation. Now they've given you two things, ABO blood groups and body mass. Now you know continuous variation is body mass, so it can't be ABO blood group. So either this is correct. Discontinuous can only be, so either this is correct. Now it's either A or D. Now A, they say discontinuous, then environment only. Sorry, blood groups are not affected by environment at all. So that is why the answer to 34 is D. Continuous variation, genes and environment, body mass. So, well, you have genetic information also, and then the environment, and then you, by people who are obese is because they eat a lot, and the environment is because they eat a lot of maybe fats and carbohydrates and sweet things, so they become fat. So that's continuous variation, genes and environment and body mass. Then 35, humans have kept sheep for many centuries because they supply us with wool. The flow chart shows how a farmer would breed his sheep to provide more wool. So sheep providing most wool identified, identified, then offspring provided most wool identified, next generation born, only sheep most wool allowed to breed, next generation born, offspring providing most wool identified. And then offspring provided most wool and only sheep, then this is going to come here again. Now it says which process is described in this flow chart? More wool provided. What are we going to do with the wool? We're going to make some garments. We're going to make some sweater, some coat or something. So what is, who is basically going to benefit? It's human benefit, so it's in a way sort of artificial selection, but there's no such topic for artificial selection. But then when you say offspring provided most wool and then only sheep with most wool bred, so it would be selective breeding. So either it could have been artificial selection because it's human benefit, but there is no such answer, artificial selection. So that is why the answer to 35 is B, selective breeding. Question number 36. The numbers in the diagram show the amount of energy transferred to part of an ecosystem. So we have 88,000 kilojoules minus 73,000 is the energy loss. So 88,000 minus 73,000 would be 15,000. Then it says herbivores 13,200 energy lost. Then carnivores and energy lost. How much energy is transferred from herbivore to carnivore? So how much energy is going to be transferred here? So how did you get this figure? This minus this. So what would be this figure? This minus this. Got it? So 88,000 minus 73,000 was 15,000. So how much would this be? What figure would come here? This minus this. 15,000 minus 13,200. So for the question 36, the answer is B. Then coming to question number 37, the diagram shows a food web in a rainforest. How many trophic levels are shown in this food web? So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 1, plants is the producers are the first trophic level, the feeding levels. So that's why the answer is C, 4 feeding levels. How many trophic levels? Trophic levels are feeding levels. Producers are the first trophic level. This is how we get things wrong. So 1, 2, and this tree frog is 3, and then this is 4. So 4 trophic levels. 38. The diagram shows the carbon cycle, carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, carbon compounds in animals, carbon compounds in plants, carbon compounds in fossil fuel. Which labeled processes represent respiration? Now we have to understand is respiration is when carbon dioxide is going back. So this is the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Let's see how many arrows are coming back to it. This one, and this one. It's a 1, 2, and 4. Now carbon compounds in plants, and this is so 2 is respiration. Then carbon compounds in animals, and 4 is respiration. But then what is 1? Carbon compounds in fossil fuel. This is combustion. So it can only be 2 and 4. So the answer is C. Respiration is going to return the carbon to the atmosphere. So carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. So we've got to see how many arrows are coming back to it. And these were the arrows that were coming at. This is the only one which is carbon compounds in fossil fuel. So this is combustion. This cannot be respiration. Then coming to question number 39. Vitamin A deficiency is a big health problem in some parts of the world and can cause problems such as blindness. Rice can be genetically modified to enable people to make vitamin A when they eat it. 150 grams of this rice provides 60% of the adult recommended daily intake of vitamin A. How much rice does an adult need to get 100% of the recommended daily intake of vitamin A? A very small maths question. So in my own little very silly way of doing my maths, 60% is 150 gram, 1 is 150 over 60, so 100% will be 250. So the answer is C. I'm sorry, my maths is not a very strong forte, so just put up with it. So question number 39, 250 grams. So the answer is C. Last question number 40. Which feature of bacteria makes them useful in genetic modification? They can only make simple molecules. No, they can make complex molecules. Actually, that's in the syllabus. They can reproduce rapidly. Yes, that's correct. They can cause decomposition. Why would we need it in genetic modification, decomposition? They can cause disease. Why would we then use it in genetic modification? If they cause disease, that's very dangerous then. So which features of bacteria make them useful in genetic modification? The fact, you see, this is a syllabus point actually, that they reproduce and they produce complex molecules and there's no sort of ethical issues about it. So that completes your one paper of 0610, and this is the latest paper. So all the very best and thank you very much.